Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're looking at something you've probably heard, well, a million times, but maybe haven't really stopped to think about it. I'm talking about the evolution of nursery rhymes. It is absolutely fascinating to see how we've gone from these ancient, whispered lullabies designed to literally just put babies to sleep, all the way to modern, high-octane, billion-view empires on YouTube. We're going to unpack the history, the science, and the modern controversies surrounding the songs we sing to our kids.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been sitting in a totally quiet room, completely alone, and suddenly realized you have The Wheels on the Bus or, I don't know, Five Little Ducks, hopelessly stuck in your head? We all have, right? It's incredibly relatable. But there is actual hard cognitive science behind why that happens, and it's deeply tied to how our brains, and our children's brains, develop and learn to process the world around us.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the origins of rhymes, then the digital rhyme revolution, third, how rhymes build brains, and finally, we'll tackle the screen time dilemma. Starting off with Section 1, the origins of rhymes, from Roman nurses to Mother Goose. So let's see how this builds chronologically. The absolute oldest children's songs we have on record are actually lullabies. Back in the Roman era, nurses used these soothing la-la-la sounds to calm babies down, which, fun fact, is actually where the English word lullaby comes from. Fast forward to 1698, and we see the very first recorded version of a rhyme I bet you still know today. Pat a Cake popped up in a play by Thomas D'Urfey. By 1744, Mary Cooper published Tommy Thumb's Songbook, which really started the shift of rhymes into published entertainment. And then, in 1780, publisher Thomas Carnan compiled these English rhymes and officially coined the iconic term Mother Goose.
Moving on to Section 2, the digital rhyme revolution, toddler techno, and YouTube empires.
Just look at this wild juxtaposition. Historically, classic lullabies were soothing, right? They were sung face-to-face, and the primary goal was pretty simple: get the kid to go to sleep. But today, we have a booming genre called toddler techno. The crucial point here is how drastically the medium has changed. Take DJ Lenny Pierce, for example. He takes classic nursery rhymes and remixes them with heavy EDM beats to create literal baby raves. No joke. It's fast-paced, it's highly energetic, and instead of putting kids to sleep, it's getting them up and dancing.
And the sheer scale of this digital ecosystem, it is honestly hard to wrap your head around. 120 million. That is how many subscribers massive YouTube nursery rhyme channels like CoComelon have globally. Think about that number. Local favorites like Lala Fun draw millions of views just by playing back-to-back, highly repetitive animal and counting rhymes. You know, these aren't just quaint little songs anymore. They are massive billion-dollar digital empires capturing the attention of kids all over the world.
Next up, Section 3, how rhymes build brains, focusing on the science of learning. Now, what's really interesting here, and to understand the stakes, we need to look at this rather shocking data point: 2,500. Back in 1945, the average elementary school student had a vocabulary of about 10,000 words. But today, research shows that number has plummeted to just 2,500 words. Literacy consultants point out a massive culprit for this drop. Parents simply aren't reading or reciting traditional rhymes to their kids from birth as much as they used to, and that deprives them of a really crucial oral language foundation.
And this brilliantly illustrates the cognitive heavy lifting that rhymes actually do behind the scenes. You see, listening comprehension precedes reading comprehension. The rhythmic patterns in rhymes teach children memorization and sequencing. I mean, think about it. A rhyme has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that teaches a child how to follow a story. Plus, it builds phonemic awareness, which is the ability to hear and put together the sounds, vowels, and consonants that actually make up our entire language. But the benefits aren't just limited to reading and words. Physically, when a child recites a rhyme, they are essentially doing a workout for their mouth and tongue muscles. They're practicing articulation and pitch without any pressure or criticism. And when you add hand motions, that builds physical coordination. On a social-emotional level, sharing a rhyme face-to-face provides a safe, really secure bonding experience between parent and child. It basically gives kids a comfortable, familiar place to retreat to whenever they feel overwhelmed.
So just to summarize the sheer amount of education packed into these short little songs, they drive phonological awareness. They are incredible tools for second language or L2 acquisition because kids pick up on new vocabulary through visual and auditory repetition. They introduce foundational math concepts. I mean, think about Five Little Ducks counting down backwards as one disappears each time. They expand vocabulary effortlessly, and they drastically improve a child's baseline memory and concentration. It's basically a cognitive superfood.
Finally, we arrive at Section 4, the screen time dilemma, or too much of a good thing?
Researchers from the International Journal of Creative Research Thoughts have actually noted several potential risks when it comes to consuming these educational tools passively through screens. First up is overstimulation. The fast-paced editing, quick transitions, and super bright colors can simply overwhelm a developing brain. Second, excessive screen time can actually delay motor and language development. Why? Because the child is just passively watching rather than actively, physically participating. Third, it can really limit imagination. Instead of making up their own stories, kids just rely on the screen to paint the picture for them. And finally, this high level of stimulation can lead to screen dependency, which results in behavioral problems and, yes, severe tantrums when the device is finally taken away.
Which leaves us with this final thought to consider. How can we find the perfect balance between the digital convenience of YouTube and the irreplaceable value of traditional, face-to-face storytelling? The science tells us that the rhymes themselves are cognitive magic, but the delivery mechanism? That matters immensely. It's a fascinating challenge for modern parents and educators to navigate for sure. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.